Hey gang, it's Jeff Black here from Beachmont Ford Performance. You may be wondering, where am I? Well, normally you would find me on garage table discussion videos that are filmed in my garage at my table, and we talk about car stuff. But today, I'm here in Tip City, Ohio, and I want to honor the man that came up with the design for the car that you and I have so much passion for, the Ford Mustang. And I have the honor today to be speaking with Karen and Lauren Koenig, the daughter and granddaughter of Gale Halderman. Now, what you know about Gale Halderman may be just stuff that you've read or heard on the internet, but today I want to give Karen and Lauren the opportunity to let us know a little bit more about Gale and what was it like to grow up with a legend in Ford history. We'll also give you a peek at Gale's museum. It's better known as the Halderman Barn. And before we're out of here today, we have a special surprise for Karen and Lauren. So what do you say? Let's go inside and meet them. All right, so here we are inside of the Halderman Barn, which is basically Gale's museum. And I've got Karen and Lauren Koenig with me. Karen is Gale's daughter, and Lauren, the granddaughter. So thank you guys so much for letting us come in and do this today. It really is an honor. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and having met Gale quite a few times, I really got a good feel for what a great guy he was. And you guys, every time we've been here, so friendly. And we really love you guys. So what the goal today was kind of let people know your guys' perspective on what was Gale like, and give us a little insight. I did put together a few questions that I wrote down here, so why don't we try and just see what you think of these. So first off, tell me what it was like growing up the daughter and granddaughter of such a legend in Ford history.
I have to say, I don't see my grandpa's a celebrity like other people do.
Yeah.
Everyone asks me what's it like to have your grandpa's a celebrity, and I'm like, I don't look at him
He's
as a
just
celebrity.
grandpa.
It's grandpa. And he's just your genuine guy. When you come and meet him, that's how he is in real life. He doesn't put on an act.
Yeah.
That's just genuine how he is. And honestly, I did not know what he did until Mustang turned almost 40 and 50 years.
Yeah.
And so, I knew my grandpa worked for Ford for 40 years, but what he did, not a clue. But when Mustang turned 50 and when he went to Charlotte, it just blew up. Oh my God, he actually designed the Mustang.
All of a sudden you're like, oh my God, Grandpa did that?
Yeah, and you didn't think about it.
I didn't even think I knew till the 50th.
Yeah.
When they came back from Charlotte, him and John Clore. They had that picture.
Yeah. I knew you probably didn't have a whole lot of, memory of what he'd done. I thought maybe you would have a little bit more.
Oh,
but,
yeah. I used to go with him to Design Center, and he'd show me the clay models and all that at night after he worked. But he worked a lot of hours when we were kids.
Yeah.
He'd come home for dinner, go back, and then we'd be in bed.
So you got a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff,
right.
But you still didn't really get a feel for,
Plus, he worked on a lot of cars. But like you said, you never knew he really did that Mustang drawing at all. And when you were in plus, nobody knew it was going to be as big as it was when he drew it.
That's true. I don't think even through, I don't know, like you said, probably until the 50th anniversary is when it really hit people. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this car's been around for 50 years now. That's an unbelievable accomplishment.
Right. Plus, when he got inducted at the 40th, I still didn't even really knew he drew the sketch.
Oh,
No,
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So did he just didn't talk about it much, huh? To you guys?
I don't think he really brought it up and was like, I'm Gale Halderman, I designed the Mustang. It was just one of those things he always worked for Ford and he discussed every, the cars he worked on, but never really went in depth of the Mustang.
Yeah.
Because he worked on Lincoln's trucks, you
Yeah.
name it.
Yeah. So growing up like you, it wasn't like you went to school and everybody goes, hey, that's Gale Halderman.
No, nobody knew. Like I said, I really didn't even know until him and John really came back when we were here from the 50th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Well, so, obviously, unfortunately, Gale has passed recently. And there's been, obviously a lot of obituaries out there, stories and articles. Is there anything about Gale that wasn't written that you guys want to let everybody know?
Oh, you go ahead, Lauren.
I mean, there was things like written in articles that were not true. That the one thing was he designed the sketch on the front porch, and that was totally false.
The back porch.
He left work that night, and his boss told him to go home and do some sketches, and he's like, I don't have time for it. And he went home at 11 o'clock at night and drew that sketch on the kitchen table.
Wow.
And took it into work next morning, and that's how it came about.
Under pressure.
Yeah.
A lot of things were that, his birth date was wrong, which is, that's common. But the other thing was he did not pass away from the coronavirus. I mean, a lot of people think in the times that we are in right now that that's what he passed from, but it was not the coronavirus. He had a short-term battle with liver cancer, it was not long-term, it was very short-term.
Yeah, like days, we found out.
Yeah, that's too bad. I know we had talked about doing an interview with Gale, and we had to postpone it.
Because we didn't know, when you and I talked back in March, he wasn't as sick, and then April came and it was just downhill.
Yeah. I mean, I admit that I missed out on that opportunity. I really wanted to sit down and talk to Gale. But, it's the way it goes. Well, let's talk about the museum. Okay. How did this come about?
So it started
off in that small room where the Mustangs sit, the older ones.
Okay.
And he had a couple other guys' cars in here. And then he bought that convertible for his 80th birthday.
Okay.
And then he had some drawings at home, and he brought them down, and then he just
kept building.
And then a couple people where my camera room was, it just used to be an office, my grandfather's office when it was a nursery here. They used to sit in there, and they said, they gave him ideas, and then
he just kept expanding.
So you had more of a nursery, like for flowers, plants, and
that
trees.
Whole field was all evergreens and trees and all that.
And we'll be doing a little bit of a tour of the museum here in a little bit, and then we can talk about some of the rooms you're talking about. So it just kind of grew, huh?
Yes.
And then how did it end up becoming a destination point for Mustang clubs and so forth?
It was John Clore that came when they were filming The Faster Horse here.
Okay.
Segments of The Faster Horse. John was here, and he goes, I'd like to bring our club down. And that was in April of 2014. And then, John, he gets anything on the map for you.
Yeah.
And their group came down, and and they've been here coming every year since.
Wow. And if any of you out there are not familiar with John Clore and the movie The Faster Horse, it was basically a movie about the history of the Mustang. And John Clore is, I'll call him the face of Ford Performance. Yes. He's the PR director and quite a guy.
Yes.
We actually have a surprise for you a little bit later in this video. So that kind of took off, and now you have, how many clubs come here every year?
I mean, we average probably about 15 to 20 clubs.
Yeah.
Thousands of people.
And not even just car clubs either.
It's not just Ford car clubs. I mean, we get Chevy and Dodge.
Last year, we actually had the Red Hat ladies come.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we had like 14 of them come.
Okay. I know I've been fortunate, and myself and Charlie Watson from Beachmont Ford Performance, we were honored to be judges here, I think at least 2 years in a row now, maybe 3, for the Red Mustang Registry show. And it's always an honor to be here. And it was so cool to be here and see the people that would flock to Gale and want to talk and hear his stories. He had some great stories. You think 40 years at Ford, the man's got some stories.
Yes.
And every time I was here, I've told you off camera, I thought, I'll get a picture with him and get an autograph or whatever. And every time I thought, there's so many people that I'm like, I'll get it next time. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, he loved his Lee Iacocca stories. That was his big thing.
Yes.
People really wanted to hear about Lee.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and they got to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool about it. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take you on a little tour of the museum, and we'll talk about a few of the rooms and so forth. We'll give you a little history.
Okay.
All right, let's go. So here we are in another section of the Halderman Barn. And right here with us is a Model T Ford. This is the car that started it all for Ford. And Ford is obviously known for the production line. He built the production line. And by doing that, Lauren, do you have an idea how long did it take to build one of these?
93 seconds.
93 seconds. Can you imagine that, Karen? You've got a production line, you can build one of these in 93 seconds. And how many of these things were made?
16.5 million were sold.
16.5 million. That's another amazing thing. I know Henry Ford didn't really want to give up on this car. You know, they were saying, hey, we need to come up with something new. But he's like, oh, we sold a ton of these. We're going to sell more. But we had to move on. But this is what started it all. All right, what do you think? Let's go check out another section of the barn.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so we've moved on. One thing you may not know when you come to the Halderman Barn is it's not all about Mustangs. We have a room here that is kind of more your room, but the photography room and the unbelievable collection of cameras. Tell me a little bit about this.
Well, I have over 800 cameras and probably over 400 just from donations from people.
Really?
Yes.
I see movie projectors and everything. And you were telling me off camera, you have one camera in here that is how old?
1898.
1898. Wow.
Yes.
So you've been into photography for quite a
Well,
while.
I always like taking pictures, and it's just a little thing turned into a big thing.
A big thing, yeah. And as we were talking about again off camera, when people come here, they see this and it's like, oh, wow, bonus.
Yep.
You know, because they come here thinking about Mustangs, and yet we have this awesome display of cameras and video equipment.
Because when we moved here in 2014, what did we bring? Maybe 125, 150 in cameras.
Just over 100
that's how much it's grown in the last 6 years.
Are you into photography?
I am now.
You are now? Mom's teaching you.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, she does a good job.
Good. So there you go. Another section of the Halderman Barn that you'll want to visit when you come here. All right, so we have moved on to another really, really special spot here in the museum at the Halderman Barn. We are in front of the original sketch that Gale drew in his kitchen, right? At what was it, 11 or midnight at night? Yes. And he drew this sketch. That's what became the Mustang and led to every other Mustang after that. And there's also a picture here, which we'll get a highlight of a little bit later for you, but the movie, The Faster Horse, some of that was filmed here. And that's what this is all about. So, Karen, if you don't mind, tell me the story you were telling me off camera about the picture.
Well, we had a guy come here from the Carolinas, and he wanted a picture of that, of my dad. He wanted a signature on it, so I said, I'll take a picture for you and send it to you. And he goes, I'll give you $100 for it. So I did it, and it's just been history down the road. Now we sell them for $10 donation just to keep my dad's legacy going and keep the maintenance of the barn up.
So everybody that buys one of these, that $10 donation goes to basically running the museum.
Right, and they're signed, and they're an 8x10.
So that's the drawing right there that started it all. All right, let's move on to another spot. All right, we are in another section yet of the Halderman Barn. This spot right now is probably pretty special for you, I assume. So as you know, Gale did pass recently. What was the date again exactly?
April 29th,
April
2020.
Of 2020. So in that time now, you have basically created a wall dedicated to Gale.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about it.
I just took a ton of pictures I found online or people sent, made collages up, and these are just actual newspaper articles and letters from Ford Motor Company over his years working, and some of the death things from magazines and news stories. Obituaries and stuff from some of the different news channels and magazines and stuff like this.
Wow. That's beautiful. And now, if you've never been to the museum, obviously it's a great destination point for your Mustang club or any car club, really.
Right.
But if you have been here, this is going to be obviously something new that you've probably never seen.
I just done it in the last week to 10 days.
Yeah.
I put it all together.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, a 40-year career at Ford. I mean, it wasn't just the Mustang that he was involved with, because Gale also, he basically became the director of design, right?
Well, he had a lot of jobs at Ford's as he worked his way up.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So we talk about the Mustang, we focus on the Mustang, but he was much more to Ford.
Right. He did the Lincoln, one of the Lincolns, it was car of the year. I can't remember what year that was, but.
Yeah, I remember hearing him tell some of the stories
Right,
before.
yes.
That's probably going to be the biggest thing that you're going to miss if you've been used to coming here,
Yeah.
is being able to hear Gale tell the stories.
Right.
Because those were great. All right, well, let's go to one more section. All right, well, we are in what was going to be our final spot today. There's a lot to see here. We can't film everything, but this is a new addition here at the museum. And this is a pretty special car.
Yes, it is.
And I'm going to let you tell me about it.
It's John Clore's car, and it just arrived here this March,
Yeah?
2020, and
Nobody knows it's in here.
Nobody
This is a surprise.
yeah, I don't even know if John even told any of his club members that it's here.
Wow.
Yes.
Again, John Clore with Ford Performance. He's basically the face of Ford Performance.
Yes,
You'll
he
see
is.
him everywhere. And
Very
very
true.
special to have this in
Yes.
here.
I think it really made an addition to this barn.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And like you said, the people that have been here multiple times, they'll go like, hey, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
You know.
I agree. No one even knows it's in here. So when they walk in.
Yeah. And John, as we're talking off camera, John, very close friends with
Yes,
Gale.
yeah.
And another one that can tell us tons of stories.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to do our best to get an episode with
Yes,
John.
I will try to get you communicating
Good
with
deal.
him. He will.
Now, John doesn't know, but didn't you say you would take this out every once in a while for a spin?
He told me I could. And I said, no way, just backing it up here, I would have a hell of a time. It is staying, I told him, until you come back down here and you drive it out and bring it in here.
Very, very cool. Man, I'll tell you what, I again, for me, myself, and for Beachmont Ford Performance, I can't tell you how honored we are to be here today. And thank you so much for your time.
Well, thanks
and
for having us.
we've got a little something special for you guys.
A new Mustang for Lauren.
All right, it's not that special. But we have something that we want to honor Gale for. We have this plaque that we'd like to present to you from Beachmont Ford Performance.
Oh, wow.
That is cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure you can find a spot somewhere
Oh,
here.
yeah, I'll probably put it some. Trust me, I'll always find a spot.
Yeah. Yeah, we really thought about that and
like
thought that you would enjoy it, and we just feel again honored.
I love it in the stainless. It's totally different.
Yeah,
Yes.
we were so happy with the way it turned out.
I agree.
And again, we're just so thankful for you guys to let us come here into the barn and spend this time and hear a little bit more about Gale. And just, you guys are always
Well, we enjoyed doing it too.
Love having you.
Yeah, you guys are welcome
Thanks.
anytime.
Yeah, and it's such a
Wanna hold
benefit for myself and Beachmont Ford. We're in the general area. We're about 45 minutes to an hour away from here in Tip City, but we're close enough that we can come up here and see you guys a lot.
You guys are welcome anytime.
All right.
Just give me a call. Tina knows how to get a hold of me.
Tina, yeah. And she's speaking of Tina Schaefer, who's a good friend of ours at Beachmont Ford Performance. And I do want to thank Tina for helping coordinate this whole thing today. All right. There you go, folks. Jeff Black, Beachmont Ford Performance, Karen and Lauren Koenig, and the Halderman Barn. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed this.